The 21 most shocking and mysterious recent archaeological discoveries that could rewrite world history. Hello everyone. In recent years, archaeology has brought us countless surprises. From valuable treasures to ancient ruins, excavation projects have uncovered not only artifacts, but also numerous ancient skeletons, each with its own eerie backstory. In this video, let's uncover the hidden secrets behind these ancient remains discovered by archaeologists, revealing mysteries that have been buried for thousands of years. 26.5 million-year-old giant rhino fossils. The fossils of two giant rhinos, estimated to be around 26.5 million years old, have been unearthed in China. These findings mark a significant milestone in the history of science and offer new insight into what the Asian landscape looked like millions of years ago. The newly discovered giant rhinos were far larger than modern rhinos. Scientists have named the species Paraceratherium lynxiense. This prehistoric rhino weighed around 48,000 pounds, the equivalent of 4 fully grown African elephants or 8 adult white rhinos. It stood nearly 16.4 feet tall at the shoulder, with a body length of about 36 feet, and its head could reach a height of approximately 23 feet. Its colossal size makes Paraceratherium lynxiense even larger than the woolly mammoth, earning it the title of the largest land mammal to have ever lived. Of the two fossils discovered, one included a skull, jawbone, teeth, and the vertebra that connects the head to the spine. The other consisted of 3 cervical vertebrae. Based on these specimens, scientists were able to reconstruct the ancient animal and concluded that it was distinct enough to be considered a new species. According to researchers, giant rhinos were once widespread across parts of Asia, including what is now Pakistan, China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. The Paraceratherium genus was the most widely distributed among all the giant rhino species. What surprised scientists most about the discovery is the implication it has for ancient Asian ecosystems. It suggests the presence of highly productive vegetation in the regions where these massive mammals lived. Most giant mammals went extinct as Earth's climate became significantly drier during the Oligocene epoch, approximately 34 to 23 million years ago. The drying climate led to the decline of vast forests, which many large mammals depended on for food. Despite this environmental shift, the giant rhino managed to survive for an extended period. A 700-year-old skeleton still holding hands. During an excavation project at the site of a long-lost church in Leicestershire, England, archaeologists discovered 2 skeletons buried side by side, still holding hands, despite having been underground for over 700 years. While double burials aren't uncommon, what makes this discovery remarkable is that the bodies were found at the Church of St. Marel, a site that had vanished from historical records and was only recently rediscovered by local historians and a team of researchers. The 2 individuals were not buried in the main parish church of the area, which puzzled the experts. According to Vicky Score, one of the lead researchers, the question remains: why were these bodies interred at St. Marel's when Hallaton already had a functioning and prominent church? This raises the possibility that the now-lost church served a special burial purpose at the time. Researchers suggest that in the 14th century, the site may have been a pilgrimage stop in Hallaton, a rural village in eastern Leicestershire. Alternatively, the couple might have been outcasts, exiled individuals, criminals, or victims of disease who were buried there instead of in the main churchyard. Archaeologists from the University of Leicester's Archaeological Services, along with local volunteers, have been excavating the site of the lost church of St. Marel for the past 4 years. Evidence shows that the site dates back to Roman times, around 2,000 years ago. So far, excavations have revealed parts of the church's walls and stone foundations, along with fragments of plaster, tiles, and masonry extending from the windows and surrounding a nearby cemetery. Among the findings were several silver coins, which were dated between the 12th and 16th centuries. These coins helped researchers determine the active period of the church. Using radiocarbon dating, archaeologists concluded that all 11 skeletons unearthed at the site likely date back to the 14th century. Each of the bodies was buried in an east-west orientation, in keeping with Christian burial customs of the time. The ancient CD no one can decode. The object in the photo is known as the Phaistos disc, dating back to the Minoan civilization of Greece, approximately 3,700 years ago. It is a clay disc with a diameter of about 6.3 inches, engraved with a series of pictographic symbols. These symbols are believed to represent the world's earliest known form of printed text and have puzzled archaeologists for decades. To this day, Dr. Gareth Owens of the Technological Educational Institute of Crete believes he may have deciphered the meaning behind the symbols and message of this ancient artifact. The disc features 241 pictographs made up of 45 unique characters, including images of running men, crowned heads with feathered headdresses, women, children, animals, birds, insects, tools, weapons, and trees. Dr. Owens suggests that the disc contains a prayer to the Minoan great goddess. A key word on the disc, which can be pronounced as Aika, is believed to mean pregnant mother. One side of the disc appears to be dedicated to a pregnant woman, while the other depicts a woman giving birth. The Phaistos disc was discovered in 1903 by Italian archaeologists during an excavation of the ruins of the Minoan palace at Phaistos, located in southern Crete. To this day, the artifact continues to attract attention from researchers and archaeologists around the world due to the mysterious nature of its inscriptions. Sunken treasure off the coast of Egypt. A team of underwater archaeologists, led by French maritime archaeologist Franck Gaudiot, has uncovered remarkable new findings at the Temple of Amun in the ancient port city of Thonis Herakleion, located in Abu Qir Bay, Egypt. The team explored the southern canal of the city, where massive stone blocks from the temple had collapsed during what they described as a catastrophic flood event in the mid-2nd century BCE. The Temple of Amun was historically a sacred site where pharaohs would receive their divine power from the supreme gods of ancient Egypt. Among the precious artifacts excavated were ceremonial silver instruments, gold jewelry, and broken perfume or ointment jars. These findings reflect both the wealth of the sanctuary and the deep religious devotion of the ancient port's inhabitants. Notably, to the east of the temple, archaeologists discovered a Greek sanctuary dedicated to the goddess Aphrodite. There, they uncovered bronze and ceramic artifacts, confirming that Greek settlers, who were allowed to live and trade in the city during the Sate dynasty, also had places to worship their own deities. The discovery of Greek weapons further suggests the presence of Greek mercenaries who may have guarded the entrance to the kingdom at the Canopic branch of the Nile, the river's largest and most navigable channel. In addition to these relics, the team also uncovered underground structures supported by well-preserved wooden columns and beams dating back to the 5th century BCE. The remains of Thonis Herakleion were first discovered by the European Institute for Underwater Archaeology, IEASM, in 2000. Today, the city lies submerged about 4.3 miles off the Egyptian coast. For centuries, Thonis Herakleion was Egypt's main Mediterranean port until Alexander the Great founded Alexandria in 331 BCE. However, the city's demise was brought on by a combination of rising sea levels, earthquakes, and tsunamis, which triggered a phenomenon called soil liquefaction. As a result, a massive area of around 42 square miles of the Nile Delta, including Thonis Herakleion, sank beneath the sea. 2,000-year-old Dead Sea Scrolls. Scientists have recently uncovered a fascinating secret about the most beautifully preserved Dead Sea Scroll, one of nearly 1,000 ancient manuscripts discovered in over a dozen caves near Qumran, in the eastern Judean desert, West Bank. Written between approximately 408 BCE and 318 BCE, the Dead Sea Scrolls are among the most valuable ancient documents ever found. Their primary content includes the Hebrew Bible, the oldest known version of the text, which contains many important historical references. The scrolls were stored in ceramic jars and hidden in caves to protect them from Roman destruction. One of the greatest mysteries surrounding the scrolls has puzzled scientists for decades: how they survived for over 2 millennia despite being written on parchment, an organic material that should have decayed long ago. Recently, Professor Admir Masik, a member of the current research team, helped identify the miracle behind this preservation: a mysterious salt mixture used during their production. A tiny fragment of a scroll, just 0.04 inches thick, was analyzed under a microscope using both X-ray and Raman spectroscopy. The team discovered a unique salt mixture made up of calcium, sodium, and sulfur, a chemical composition not naturally found in the Dead Sea region. This brine-like solution was absorbed into the parchment and allowed to dry, after which another layer of salt was rubbed onto the surface. This process created a material that resisted decay for 2,000 years and had a noticeably brighter white appearance than typical parchment. The base of this parchment came from animal hides, which were carefully dehaired, defatted, scraped, and stretched. According to Professor Masick, the scroll's preservation is even more miraculous than it seems. Most of the damage occurred after their discovery, when modern researchers attempted to soften and unroll the scrolls for reading and analysis. The study also revealed that the mineral coating is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture from the air, which can damage the material once it is removed from the cave environment. This finding emphasizes the need for extreme caution in any future attempts to handle or study the Dead Sea Scrolls. Massive fossil discovery in the UK. In the enchanting landscape of the Rutland Nature Reserve in England, archaeologists uncovered a massive skeleton. Initially believed to be a dinosaur, further examination revealed it to be a sea dragon, also known as an ichthyosaur, a prehistoric marine reptile that went extinct around 90 million years ago. Measuring approximately 32 feet in length with a skull weighing nearly 2,200 pounds and stretching 6 feet long, it is considered the largest and most complete fossil of its kind ever found in the UK. Sea dragons lived in British waters about 180 million years ago, during the Jurassic period, alongside dinosaurs. They were apex predators at the top of the food chain and likely among the largest marine animals ever to exist. The specimen was discovered by chance in January 2021, when water levels at Rutland Water, the largest reservoir in England, were lowered to improve habitat conditions for local birdlife. Initially, people believed the exposed remains were old water pipes buried in the mud. Upon closer inspection, however, they appeared to be vertebrae. Local authorities were called in for verification. Soon after, a team of paleontologists carefully excavated the massive skeleton over a 2-week period in August and September. The fossil was later wrapped in wooden braces and plaster to prevent damage. It is currently undergoing cleaning, conservation, and study, with plans for public exhibition in 18 to 24 months. Anglian Water, the company managing Rutland Water, noted that 2 less complete ichthyosaur fossils had been discovered in the area back in the 1970s. However, this new find is especially noteworthy because it was discovered in an inland location, far from any current coastline. Dr. Dean Lomax, the paleontologist leading the excavation, expressed hope that this discovery will help fill in important knowledge gaps about ichthyosaurs in the UK. The mysterious circles of the Amazon. Mysterious circular formations hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest of Brazil continue to baffle researchers and captivate curious minds around the world. These enigmatic structures seem to resist all attempts to fully understand their purpose or origin, remaining a secret of the jungle. Some theories suggest the circles may have been burial sites or part of ancient defensive structures, but conclusive evidence remains elusive. Others have speculated a possible link to unidentified flying objects, UFOs, claiming the circles existed even before the Amazon rainforest itself fully formed. Another prominent theory is that they were created by ancient human civilizations who once inhabited the region. Yet the question remains, what motivated these people to construct such complex and precise structures in the heart of the jungle? Much like the mysterious Nazca lines in Peru, the true origin of the Amazonian circles is still unknown. They may be the result of natural phenomena, or perhaps they are the product of extraordinary human imagination and creativity. Despite the many unanswered questions surrounding their existence, the mysterious circles are a vivid testament to the rich cultural and historical depth of the Amazon. Until definitive answers emerge, they will remain one of the world's great unsolved mysteries, adding yet another layer of wonder and allure to the Amazon rainforest. The underwater city, beneath the Bermuda Triangle. The infamous Bermuda Triangle has baffled the world for centuries with countless mysterious disappearances. While scientists have proposed various theories to explain the strange phenomena haunting this region, the truth remains elusive. But just as the world struggled to make sense of the Bermuda Triangle, a startling underwater discovery added a whole new layer of mystery. In October 2012, the scientific community was rocked by a bold claim from a team of underwater explorers. They had discovered the remains of an ancient underwater city beneath the depths of the Bermuda Triangle. Located nearly 660 feet below sea level, the site is believed to be approximately 10,000 years old. Even more astonishing, at the very heart of the Bermuda Triangle, explorers uncovered 4 massive pyramids, along with statues resembling the Sphinx, a feature previously thought to exist only in Egypt. Upon measurement and analysis, scientists found that the size of these underwater pyramids surpasses even that of the Great Pyramids of Giza and Cheops in Egypt. Given that researchers still struggle to fully understand the origin and construction techniques of land-based pyramids, the existence of 4 colossal pyramids beneath the ocean floor has caused even greater confusion and fascination. More than a decade later, the mystery remains unsolved. Scientists continue to debate and investigate, with many believing this may be one of the greatest unsolved enigmas in human history. The mysterious stone spheres of Costa Rica. Deep within the jungles of this Central American country lie massive granite spheres, some weighing up to 26,000 pounds, astonishingly smooth and perfectly round. Could it be that over 3,000 years ago, native peoples had discovered a way to carve them with near-perfect geometry despite having very limited mathematical knowledge? Before this, archaeologists had already puzzled over similar stone formations found in Tennessee, Arizona, and giant egg-shaped rocks in California and Ohio. In his book Sons of the Sun, French professor Marcel Houmet attempted to explain the mystery of these massive stones after he discovered a stone egg in the upper Amazon basin, over 330 feet long and 100 feet tall, covered in carvings and drawings symbolizing the sun and stars. Carbon-14 dating revealed that the engravings were indeed ancient, not the work of modern pranksters. According to Marcel's calculations, the carving would have taken over 10 years of continuous work by dozens of skilled sculptors. This discovery challenged the long-held belief that such formations were natural, formed by wind and water erosion, forces of nature incapable of producing such intricate and deliberate carvings. In contrast, the mysterious stones of Costa Rica bear far fewer carvings but astonish with their nearly perfect roundness. Swiss professor Erich von Däniken was among the first to study them, featuring them in his book Return to the Stars. He considered them one of the great mysteries of Central America. Much like the question of how the ancient Egyptians lifted massive stones to build the pyramids, Erich wondered how these enormous spheres were transported, some of them placed precisely atop hills. Uniquely, Costa Rica's stone spheres are not concentrated in one area but scattered along riverbanks, deep jungles, and hilltops. Of the few dozen discovered, more than half are made of granite, while the rest were carved from volcanic rock. Their sizes vary significantly, with the heaviest estimated to weigh over 66,000 pounds. Some sit exactly at the summits of hills, seemingly placed with mathematical precision. French professor Gerard Demarque also found much smaller stones placed inside jars that had floated down rivers or were buried in the Diki Delta region. At Diki alone, he discovered 45 small spheres engraved with images of livestock arranged in a mysterious pattern. In another jungle, explorers found 2 large, perfectly round stones. To this day, no expedition has been able to film them due to their remote location. Only photographs exist, leading to skepticism within the scientific community. Some even accused Erich and Gerard of fabricating the scenes. Despite the doubts, both scholars continued their work, aiming to discover the origins and transportation methods of these massive stones. The theory that the spheres were transported was quickly dismissed, though it remains possible that the ancient Costa Ricans developed an unknown method. A second theory suggests the spheres were carved on-site, before the forest grew around them. But even if that's true, how did people with such limited knowledge of geometry create such flawlessly spherical forms? Granite is incredibly hard. Even modern artisans struggle to craft a perfectly round granite sphere with a diameter of 8.2 feet and a volume of around 280 cubic feet. So how did ancient people, with only primitive tools, manage such a feat? Their purpose is also a mystery. Costa Rican history suggests that large stones symbolized celestial bodies and the movement of the sun, essentially a kind of star calendar. Local elders say they and their ancestors have always called them sky balls. However, this idea has been rejected by many scientists who argue that ancient American civilizations never depicted the sun or stars as spherical. Historically, civilizations like the Inca represented the sun with a flat gold disc or with a flat circle and a stick symbolizing its axis. The same was true for the Maya and Aztecs. Despite efforts to investigate further, Western scientists have hit a wall. Local tribes refuse to allow outsiders deeper into the jungle, citing spiritual beliefs that only chosen individuals may enter these sacred lands. As a result, the most beautiful and massive spheres may still remain undiscovered. In 2001, British mathematician David Shearer mentioned the Costa Rican spheres in his book Mathematics of Mesoamerica, gently suggesting a possible link between their creation and ancient scientific curiosity about Earth's rotation and the day-night cycle. He noted that ancient Chinese scientists had long studied planetary movements and used various instruments to observe them. 2,000-year-old tomb, full of priceless artifacts. A tomb accidentally discovered during a sewage pipe expansion project on the Maltese Islands, located along the Mediterranean coast, revealed a world filled with vessels of all shapes and sizes. Dated to be around 2,000 years old, many of the urns contain the cremated remains of both adults and children. The tomb's grave goods were incredibly diverse. Among the most striking were amphorae, large ceramic jars with narrow necks and two handles commonly found in ancient civilizations around the Mediterranean. The burial also included elegant perfume bottles and various items believed to be for use in the afterlife. Given their age, these artifacts represent a massive archaeological treasure. The tomb belonged to the Punic people, a well-known ancient civilization in the region. According to the Malta Historical Society, several Punic tombs have been found in the area, offering valuable insights into their distinct language and culture. The Punics consisted of several semi-autonomous city-states and were known for their maritime trade, advanced glass-blowing techniques using pure transparent glass, and pottery craftsmanship. The newly uncovered artifacts are now being transported to laboratories for further analysis. A 700-year-old church. According to German legend, Rungholt was once a prosperous and sprawling town on the coast of ancient Germany, believed to have met a tragic fate as divine punishment. Scientifically, however, it is thought that the town was destroyed during a catastrophic natural disaster, a storm surge that struck the coastline in January 1362, burying the entire settlement beneath the waves. This legendary town re-emerged in a study by a team of researchers from the Center for Baltic and Scandinavian Archaeology. They pinpointed the location of a grand structure near the shoreline, where Rungholt is believed to have once stood. Using a combination of geoscientific and archaeological methods, including magnetic surveys, electromagnetic induction, and seismic measurements, the structure was identified as an ancient church, located on a foundation measuring about 131 by 16.4 feet in the middle of a settlement site stretching over 1.2 miles. According to Dr. Ruth Blankenfeld, the significance of this discovery lies in the church's role as the central building of the settlement, which, due to its scale, must have functioned as a major parish at the time. Surveys across a broader area, covering over 3.9 square miles, revealed 54 linear features belonging to various structures of the settlement, including a well-built drainage system, a coastal levee, a harbor, and two smaller churches. Archaeologists emphasize that further excavations must be carried out urgently, as the remaining traces of the settlement are fragile and may be further damaged by natural forces. The Aiud aluminum wedge. The Aiud aluminum wedge is a wedge-shaped object discovered in 1974 on the banks of the Mureș River, west of the city of Aiud, Romania. It was found 36 feet below a layer of sand, alongside the fossilized remains of two mastodons. Its appearance is similar to the head of a hammer. After being brought to the Cluj-Napoca Institute of Archaeology for analysis, it was confirmed to be made of an aluminum alloy, coated with a thin layer of oxide. The alloy consists of 12 different elements. This discovery is unusual because aluminum wasn't even identified until 1808, and it wasn't mass-produced until 1885. Furthermore, refining aluminum requires temperatures of around 1,832 degrees. The fact that this object was found in the same sediment layer as the mastodon bones suggests that it is at least 11,000 years old. Many believe it to be evidence of extraterrestrial contact with Earth. Some engineers claim that the object resembles a spacecraft landing gear component, similar to modern technology used in today's space missions. However, the scientific community maintains that the object was most likely man-made on Earth, though its exact origin and purpose remain a mystery. The sacred well of the Maya. Religion played a vital role in the spiritual life of the Maya people of the ancient city of Itza. According to ancient Maya texts, droughts were believed to be a sign of anger from the water god. To appease this deity, the people would offer a 14-year-old virgin girl to the sacred well. It was believed that once thrown into the well, the girl would become a servant of the water god, enjoying fine food, beautiful clothing, and a peaceful afterlife. However, even during times of stable weather and no droughts, Maya priests would still choose a beautiful girl to offer as a token of gratitude. People from across the region would gather at the temple beside the sacred well, which measured approximately 197 feet long and 98 feet high. Inside the temple were carvings of the water god, depicted as a feathered serpent. The chosen girl would be dressed in lavish attire and sit in the temple, accompanied by strong young men clad in golden armor, ready to escort the bride of the rain god safely to the well. The ceremony would begin at dawn. The girl, placed in a flower-adorned palanquin, would be blessed by shamans and given a magical calming drink to keep her composed. She would then be led down a 1,312 feet long path to the sacred well. Upon arrival, the young men would lift her into the air and throw her into the well. As she fell, the sound of drums would rise, the crowd would sing and dance, and the wealthy would toss gold, silver, and jewels into the well to pray for peace and protection. From the mid-16th century, as European colonizers conquered South America, cities like Chichen Itza began to fall. From that point onward, no more live sacrifices were made at the sacred well. Through archaeological research, scholars have discovered over 100 human skeletons at the bottom of the well, along with countless treasures and ancient artifacts. The ancient, gigantic, and mysterious temple with no clear answers. On a stone platform over 23 feet wide, the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon, is known as the largest Roman sanctuary ever built. To this day, the identity of the architect and the exact time of construction remain a mystery. The temple is believed to have begun construction around 16 BCE and was nearly completed by 60 CE. However, it took nearly 3 centuries to create this monumental temple complex. Between 524 and 525 CE, lightning struck and damaged the building. Later, Emperor Justinian began dismantling the granite columns. During the Crusades and religious wars, these stones were repurposed to build fortifications. The temple itself measures approximately 288 feet by 157 feet, surrounded by no less than 54 massive stone columns. These columns stand 65 feet tall and have a diameter of around 6.5 feet. The horizontal beams overhead are 16 feet high. Inside the temple, the walls are tall, and columns made of cedar wood support the large roof. The gutters are designed in the shape of lion heads, designed to drain water when snow melts. In the early spring, the scene is especially breathtaking as the water from the melting snow cascades down from a height of 82 feet. The temple was built to honor Jupiter Heliopolitanus, the supreme god in ancient Roman religion and mythology. The temple was constructed on a terrace 42 feet high, made from 24 massive monolithic stones, with the smallest stones weighing about 330 tons. 3 stones at the western end measure no less than 62 feet by 13 feet by 10 feet and weigh around 880 tons each. Over time, only 6 columns on the southern side of the temple remain, along with the fixed horizontal beams above. The architecture in the south remains nearly perfect, while the northern side has been nearly stripped bare due to harsh winter winds. The remaining horizontal beams are supported by 6 stone columns, each weighing up to 132 tons, with one column weighing over 220 tons. The 5,000-year-old giant wheel on the plateau. Located in the plains but largely ignored for decades, the strange megalithic stone structure in the shape of a wheel near Lake Galilee, Israel, remains a mystery to scientists. According to ancient origins, this ancient monument consists of gigantic stone circles that date back to the early Bronze Age. However, the creators and the reason for these stone circles remain unclear. The ancient ruins, known as Rujum el-Hiri in Arabic, meaning the heap of wildcats, are called Gigel Rephaim in Hebrew, meaning the Wheel of the Giants. This name is associated with the biblical Rephaim giants, who were believed to have constructed the complex monument. Scientists estimate that this monument is around 5,000 years old. Dating from the early Bronze Age, around 3000, 2700 BCE, it could have existed around the same time as the prehistoric Stonehenge in England. Aerial surveys conducted by archaeologists in the late 1960s revealed the full scale and shape of the site, showing the upper surface of the structure as the ruins of collapsed stone walls. Hundreds of stone structures lie scattered across the expansive fields. Among the 5 to 9 massive stone circles surrounding the central burial area, the largest circle measures over 500 feet in diameter and stands 3.3 to 8.2 feet tall. The circles are incomplete, some connected by short walls, forming spoke-like patterns. These walls have a relatively consistent thickness, ranging from 10.5 to 10.8 feet. However, archaeologists have yet to confirm whether the burial mound at the center of the site was built at the same time as the stone circles. Very few valuable artifacts have been found at Rujum el-Hiri, except for a Bronze Age pin, possibly due to the site's history of looting. Scholars believe the central stone mound, feet high and 66 to 82 feet in diameter, once held jewelry and weapons. Excavations of the surrounding chambered rooms have revealed no artifacts, suggesting that the rooms were not used for storage or habitation. One hypothesis about the purpose of the site is its astronomical alignment. On the summer solstice, June, and winter solstice, December, the sun rises in alignment with gaps in the stone circles. It's believed that the site was used for astronomical observation or worship of the sun before the burial mound was constructed, with sunlight being blocked by the monument on special days. Despite a burial mound at the center of the wheel, no human remains have been found. Dr. Rami Arav, professor of religion and philosophy at University of Nebraska, speculates that this could be due to the practice of filtering bones through birds or wild animals. The bones were later collected and placed in boxes by the local people. To date, the question of who built this monument remains complicated. Scientists estimate that the construction of this giant monument took over 25,000 man-days of work. Additionally, gathering and transporting the stones would have required a significant support system, which would have been difficult for nomadic communities, making the origin of this site still a huge mystery for scientists and archaeologists. The 5,000-year-old stone labyrinth by the White Sea. The Solovetsky Islands are a group of small islands located in the Onega Bay in the White Sea region of Russia. This remote and isolated area unexpectedly hides many archaeological sites that date back thousands of years and remain full of mysteries. The Solovetsky Islands could be called the Land of Labyrinths, as 35 stone labyrinths, estimated to be over 5,000 years old, have been found. Locals refer to these structures as Babylons. Among the labyrinths discovered, the most notable are those on Bolshoi Zayatsky Island, which contains 14 labyrinths in an area of just about 0.15 square miles on the island. These labyrinths are very well preserved and have become a familiar research site for archaeologists. However, to this day, all information about the construction of these ancient and remarkable structures remains elusive. It is impossible to determine which power or civilization was capable of investing such considerable effort and intellect to create these strange and mysterious structures in the early days of humanity on Earth, or the purpose behind their creation. Scattered across the island are many unnatural piles of stones, some of which even contain pieces of bones. Other stone structures have also been discovered here, including a fairly complete model of the sun with radiating beams of light. Researchers believe that the existence of ancient labyrinth structures is closely tied to spiritual beliefs, potentially symbolizing a gateway between the world of the living and the underworld, a place where the souls of the dead reside. The labyrinths on the island are made of solid stone walls, constructed using stones from local quarries. These labyrinths have a spiral structure with concentric circles. The smallest labyrinth has a diameter of about 20 feet, while the largest is approximately 83 feet in diameter. Some labyrinths are designed with two interlocking spirals, resembling two coiled snakes with their heads meeting at the center. The entrances to these labyrinths are primarily located to the south. Despite having 5 different variations in their structure, all the labyrinths have only one entrance, which is also the only exit. Several theories have been proposed to explain why the prehistoric settlers of the Solovetsky Islands dedicated so much effort to building these labyrinths. In the 1970s, a leading hypothesis by Gurina suggested that the labyrinths were created as fish traps, though what exactly they were used for remains a mystery. The deepest underwater cave in the world? On January 10, 2018, a group of underwater explorers, Gran Acuífero Maya, GAM, discovered two large underwater caves in Tulum, Mexico. What's remarkable is that both caves are interconnected, forming the largest underwater cave system in the world. The search had been ongoing for a decade, and it was certainly no easy task. Cenotes is the term the Maya people used to describe the natural sinkholes found in the Riviera Maya region. These openings were created by the collapse of caves, exposing the groundwater beneath. 14 years ago, German explorer Robert Schmittner and the GM team began their search with the hope of discovering an underwater mystery. They traveled to a small town in Tulum, where they purchased maps of Sac Actun and Dos Ojos. Upon examining the maps, they noticed that within one cave, another cave appeared, but the explorers could not find the junction between the two. Despite the advanced mapping technology available today, the labyrinthine tunnels inside were extremely complicated, and the steep, winding rock walls presented a significant obstacle to the search. This is why the GM team decided to dive in themselves to explore the caves. Oxbel Ha, located in the southern part of Tulum, is known as the largest underwater cave, stretching 167 miles in length, while Sac Actun follows closely at 164 miles and Kukbal at 58 miles. Within the caves, the team found remnants from the ancient Mayan civilization, including human bones, stairways, stone paintings, stone walls, and many ceramic objects. These findings will provide archaeologists with an opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of this ancient civilization. One of the most remarkable discoveries was the realization that this cave system was inhabited by people around 30,000 to 40,000 years ago. The remaining artifacts, such as the bones of deer, bears, elephants, and giant sloths, along with various signs of early human life on the peninsula, suggest a connection with other caves beneath the region. The team continues to explore and search for more tunnels beneath the sea. The impregnable ancient fortress of Masada. Masada was originally a fortress built by the Jews located in Israel, to the southwest of the Dead Sea. Most of the fortress was constructed during the reign of King Herod the Great, from 40 BCE to 30 BCE. When initially constructed, Masada was considered impregnable, perched atop a high plateau with steep rock walls and only 3 narrow paths leading up. To the east, the fortress overlooks the Dead Sea, sitting 1,300 feet above sea level, while the western side rises over 330 feet. King Herod carefully studied the location before choosing this site, as it offered a wide, expansive view of the surrounding area, extending for several miles. In fact, the fortress was built on top of a mountain, not on the mountain itself. The entire fortress complex included various buildings such as warehouses, stables, residences, and palaces, some of which were carved directly into the rock. King Herod also planned for a siege situation and had numerous food storage facilities constructed, along with 12 water reservoirs that could hold tens of thousands of cubic meters of rainwater. In the 4th century BCE, after King Herod's death, the fortress of Masada was first besieged during a Jewish revolt against the Roman occupying forces. Later, the Roman Jewish historian Flavius Josephus documented the siege of Masada in his work, The Jewish War. Between 70 and 73 CE, after the destruction of the Temple in Jerusalem, under the command of Flavius Silva, 973 members of the Zealot movement used Masada as their base to resist an overwhelming force of 15,000 Roman soldiers. To begin the siege, General Flavius Silva built a 2.5-mile-long wall surrounding the mountain to isolate the fortress. He also erected 8 military camps outside the fortress, the remains of which still exist today. Silva's forces then constructed a large earthen ramp leading to the western wall of the fortress, through which they were able to bring weapons into the fortress. Nearly 1,000 people fought fiercely against the Roman army of 15,000 soldiers, but ultimately, they could not overcome the superior numbers. In the end, the surviving defenders chose suicide over surrender. The story of the Masada siege has since become a symbol of the Jewish people's desire for freedom. After the siege, the Masada fortress was abandoned until 1838, when it was rediscovered by historians. Excavations and studies primarily took place in the 1950s-1960s. Although the fortress had been abandoned for a long period, many of its structures have been well preserved. Some key buildings are still undergoing restoration and preservation. Masada is not only a site of great cultural and historical significance, but also an essential destination for international tourists visiting the Dead Sea, the Negev Desert, and the Ein Gedi Oasis. It can be observed that, in the field of archaeology, fragments of bones or haunting memories of those who passed away long ago are quite common for scientists. However, some discoveries can have an even more chilling effect, painting a terrifying picture of life and death in the past. As for the discoveries mentioned above, they are only a small part of the vast archaeological layers that continue to puzzle researchers trying to decode their distant past. If you know of any other interesting discoveries, don't hesitate to share them with us in the comments below. And don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any other fascinating discoveries. Now, goodbye and see you next time.